So in this video, I want to give you 5 homeowner tips to make your life easier when you come here to the Lakewood Ranch area in this part of Florida. Now, if you're already here, these are going to be great tips for you. And when you're coming here, these are going to help you prepare for having a house that is easy to live in and less problems and less complications. So if that's of interest, stick around. I have all the details coming right up. Hello, it's MarkBoehmig, Michael Saunders and Company. In this channel, Living in Lakewood Ranch, we cover all the areas around Lakewood Ranch. And today, I wanted to share with you a couple of my personal experiences for home ownership here in Lakewood Ranch. So I'm going to cover 3 tips that are DIY, and then I'm going to cover 2 tips that you're probably going to need to hire a contractor to do. So the first thing on our agenda is these poles. This is a duster pole, and this thing is about, I don't know, maybe 17 to 20 feet tall. And as you can see, I use this all the time to clean down the cobwebs that are up in the lanai on the front of the house, all the way around the house, and it just helps it keep a little tidier. And make sure you get the one that has the screw-on tip on the end. You can get these on Amazon. They're readily available, and then you can replace the duster on the end when it gets dirty. And also they have one that's a paddle, so you can clean the top side of your fans. The ones on the outside of the house tend to get pretty dusty from outside. Even the ones on the inside, you're going to want to clean the top of those blades, and it's a lot easier when you don't have to get a ladder and get up on top of that. So these dusters come in very handy. And if you get the kind that has a screw-on tip, there is a broom that has a threaded receiver on it, and you can use the broom to get down the mud daubers that are going to get up into the top of your entryway. That's a very common problem. You go into almost any entryway here in Lakewood Ranch and you look up and you'll see the mud dauber nest, so they're kind of hard to get down without getting up on a ladder, and if you have one of these poles, it'll help a lot to do that. So the second item is another pole. This is a pole saw. And a lot of the landscape companies around here, even if you're in a maintenance-free community, we don't call it maintenance-free anymore, we call it maintenance assist. So they're here to take care of the lawn. A lot of the times when the trees get on the lanai cage, you don't want to have to wait for them to come out and trim it, so you can use this saw right here. It's actually a cutter and a saw blade, and it'll cut these limbs and makes it very easy. Then you take it to the curb and they'll collect it once a week on whatever your yard waste day is. But these are very handy to have, and they're simple to use. Now, the third thing I wanted to talk about are these curtains. So a lot of our time here in Florida is spent outdoors. So the more comfortable it is outdoors and the less heat that you have to make you force yourself indoors makes the space a lot more usable. So we ended up buying these. These are Sunbrella fabric curtains, and these actually are 183 inches long, and it was tough to find them, but I did find a place that'll sell it by the inch. So you can get them however long you want them to be. And I think that these were either 6 or 8 foot panels, and then you just buy however many you want, and you can close off different sections at a time. It creates a great ambiance in the evenings, and it also keeps the sun down during the day, and you can just open them and close them for whatever area the sun seems to be coming in. So now let's talk about number 4. These are going to be, number 4 and number 5 are going to be things that you're going to want to hire out. So the fourth one is, you see how smooth this deck is, these pavers around this pool? Well, it hasn't always been that way. And pavers getting uneven on pool decks is very common. It's not quite as common on the driveway side because they're able to bring in heavier equipment to tamp down the dirt underneath when they do the driveway, but around the pool, they're a lot more cautious. So about a year ago, I had this company come out and do the ends of the pool, as you can see here, and they bring in a water jet, and this thing pumps water. They shove it down into the sand, and what it does is it gets the voids out of the sand that are down below the deck level, and then they ended up bringing in about 2 wheelbarrow loads of dirt. So if you can imagine just pulling these pavers up and putting down 2 wheelbarrow loads of dirt, that tells you how much it's taking, how much sand was needed. And that it actually isn't dirt, it is a composition of a type of sand and crushed shell that they use to get these pavers put back like they're supposed to be. And if you'll notice here, they have to make sure that this is very level. It has to be even so that the slope is away from the pool and not into the pool. So It's not an easy job. I thought I was going to take up one of these pavers. After about an hour, I said, forget it, I'm calling somebody. So the people I used last year, the same people I used this year to do another little section, and they came out and they got it done in a couple of hours, and off they went, and the deck looks much, much better, and it's not a trip hazard anymore. So the fifth thing that we're going to talk about is this area right here. You see this rail here that is on the top of our lanai? Well, we call that the frog highway because every night frogs go down this rail and they hop and they hop and they hop and they get all the way down, and then they jump into the areca palms and they sit there and they catch bugs during the night, and then in the morning they come back and they get up under the roof structure in this little area here where it's not so hot so they can be cool. Now, why am I talking about the frogs? Well, when we first moved here in 2014, in 2015, we had a frog on the inside of our house. We were sitting in the living room area watching TV, and out of the side of my eye, I caught something hopping across the wall, and I thought, what in the world is that? So I went over, and it was a frog, and I thought, how in the world did he get in here? Well, he came down the vent pipe, and he came up through the toilet. So he came through the vent pipe, up into the toilet, and into the bathroom, and then came out onto the wall. And so I got to do a little investigating, and sure enough, that's where they hide at night, is in those vent pipes. So the next night, or the next day, because they stay in there during the day, the next day I got up on the roof with a flashlight and I looked down in these vent pipes, and every single one of them had a frog in it. So I knew that I needed to do something about that. So we called an exterminating company, and they came up and sealed all of the vent pipes and all of the entry areas into the attic. And that's going to help keep out rodents out of the attic. That'll help keep the frogs out of the vent pipes, and it'll help keep them out of the house for you. So hopefully you have found this video interesting, and maybe it'll help you when you come here to Florida, or if you're already here, maybe some of these little tips will help. Now, that little thing in the background right there, that is a great lizard catcher. So if you need something to catch lizards, get a cat, because they do a great job. Mark Boehmig, Michael Saunders and Company. I know there's one around here somewhere. I'm just patiently waiting for him to come in.